The longest-running off-road and action motorsports radio show on the planet is coming to you live with the biggest guest in motorsports. Here is the only man on the planet who can pack this much dirt slinging and tire slaying into 2 hours a week. Sit back, strap in, and be prepared to get your ears blown. Here is Jim Beaver and the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR.
What up, what up, what up? Welcome to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR, episode number 379. For those of you that are keeping track, I lost track a long time ago. But yeah, it is UTV World Championship week. It's also Score San Felipe 250, but UTV World Championship week means I am going racing this weekend, and I can't wait. We've also got some big announcements regarding this week. And next week, we're going to be breaking right here on the show, probably in the next segment. But not only do we have some off-road to talk about, we had a crazy weekend of racing across the globe. And we're rolling into this weekend, man. We got like IndyCar, NHRA. We got everybody. It's like full force. Blunt force trauma to the head. I mean, it's going to be one crazy weekend. It's one of those weekends where everybody's racing on the same weekend, and that makes my job even that much more fun next week because, man, do we have a lot to catch up on. We got a lot to preview this week. Yeah, it's kind of one of those wild ones. No massive guests. We've got kind of our regular crew calling in. We got my partner in crime, Tiffany Stone. She's going to call in. She'll be out at the UTV World Championship. We're doing radio on Friday, but she'll be calling in. We'll be chatting. Just who knows where the hell the conversation goes when T-Stone's on the show. We got Matt Martelli, the kingpin behind the UTV World Championship. He's on in hour number 2 as well. We've also got a double segment of power rankings this week. That's right. So much racing happened last weekend that we got to have a double segment of power rankings this week to dissect it all, which means my man Chris Leone, he is calling into the show, and we are going to dive into all the motorsports and horsepower-filled shenanigans that happened this past weekend. Plus, it is, what are we, a day removed from April 1st if you're tuning in live, which means, I don't know, all kinds of bananas happened yesterday. Yesterday was like the weird day, right? Anyways, we got a lot to talk about today. This is one that you don't want to miss, especially if you love motorsports talk radio. Trust me, it's going to be a hell of a show, a hell of a ride, and you don't want to go anywhere here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Extreme performance, reliability, and the most fun you can have on 4 wheels? The Polaris RZR brings it to you. But you don't need to take my word for it. You can take theirs.
I'm Tanner Faust, and I choose the Polaris RZR because it's the most fun you can have with a steering wheel.
What's up? I'm Ronnie Renner, and I choose Polaris RZR because it's the sickest, most reliable side-by-side on the planet.
What's up, everybody? Heavy D from Diesel Brothers. Listen, I'm on Team RZR because it's hands down the best piece of machinery on the planet.
I'm RJ Anderson, and I choose Polaris RZR because it's the most fun, most capable machine.
Action sports stars, TV personalities, and some of the best race car drivers in the world all choose Polaris RZR because it's the ultimate combination of power, suspension, agility, and fun. Find out more information on the web at PolarisRZR.com or follow at Polaris RZR on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and use the hashtag RZRLife to share your story.
4WP is more than a store. We're truck and Jeep experts and have been for over 50 years. From wheel and tire upgrades to full custom builds, 4WP has you covered. Whether you want to order the best parts online or shop in store, do the work yourself, or get it done by a pro, all roads lead to 4WP. Do your rig right. Shop online or find your store at 4WP.com.
For 100 years, General Tire has provided tires for your lifestyle, your adventure, your anywhere. Born from competition, the Grabber tire offers the durability and off-road traction you demand in a tire. We put these tires to the test in the harshest off-road racing conditions to give you a tire that will make your anywhere possible. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us photos at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible. Because with General Tire, anywhere is possible. When looking for a new wheel for your off-road vehicle, car, truck, or UTV, the choice is easy. You choose what the pros use. Rob McCachran, Keegan Kincaid, and myself, Jim Beaver, all exclusively use Vision Wheel, whether we're dominating Baja, taking the cup at Crandon, or shredding UTVs. Vision Wheel's trend-setting designs and durability will set you apart from the competition and your friends. Check out visionwheel.com or @VisionWheel on social media to learn more. Looking to have some fun on four wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle in Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount.
Like what you hear? Catch all the back episodes of the Down and Dirty Radio Show on Apple Podcast and be sure to rate, review, and subscribe.
All right, welcome back here to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. And it was it was a fun-filled weekend for motorsports fans. Was definitely a fun-filled weekend for me. We got some, I got so much to talk about in these opening 2 segments. I don't even know where to get started. I guess, this past weekend, instead of talking about the new show, let's talk about what I did this past weekend, because if you're in radio, you're a music fan by default. Like, I don't know how you can actually walk the planet and not be a music fan, like a music fan of some genre, right? Because music speaks to you, you know what I mean? Like, whether you like country, heavy metal, rock, pop, opera, rap, hip-hop, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, like, I don't know, and it speaks to you, right? Certain times of your life, certain moods during the day, like, it speaks to you, you know, and I think radio and podcasting can do the same thing, you know, and I've had people reach out to me like, hey, what you said was really impactful, man, it helped me out, and I feel like music is the same way. That being said, I'm a massive music fan, and, people, what everybody's first, well, what kind of music do you like? I like music. I don't like rap. I don't like rock. I don't like punk. I like everything. If it's good music, I'll listen to it across all genres. That's just kind of always been the way I am. Country, mix that in, whatever. I just listen to good music. This past weekend, I had the opportunity to go and sold out arena, Glendale Arena in Phoenix, and see Pink in concert, right? And this is one of those, I actually saw Pink in her, when she did her first album, was it Misunderstood? I mean, she was punk rock Pink back then, right? I saw her in a show in San Diego. It's one of those shows where there was like 8 different bands. I mean, had everybody Pink, Sugar Ray, I'm just trying to think of who else was there. Enrique Iglesias, of all people. Hanson, yes, Umbop, those guys. I'm trying to think. There was like some rock bands, and obviously it was just one of those like conglomerate things where each band comes on, plays like 4 or 5 songs, and then exits stage right. So I saw Pink back then, like literally right as her debut album came out. She was one of the opening acts. Like nobody even cared, and I honestly can't even remember if she was good or not. But then you move forward a couple of decades, you become a legend, and legendary artist, right? So go to the show in Phoenix, sold out. We had 5th row seats. Now, I don't know if you've ever sat 5th row at a concert, but it's insane. But she opens up, and this was more like a Las Vegas show. It was 2.5 hours long. I mean, she's flying around with cable systems around an arena like Superman, like the acrobatics, just honestly the strength. This girl is ripped, like straight up, but she did some training for this show, but like it was insane, mind blown. And I'm a guy who I've seen Kiss in concert live, full face makeup Kiss, right? I've seen Black Sabbath, and I'm talking OG Black Sabbath, Geezer Butler, Tony Iommi, Ozzy Osbourne, like the original founding members of Sabbath in concert. I've seen Pantera. I've seen Slayer. I've seen Megadeth. I've been to countless punk shows. I mean, I've even seen stuff like the Dixie Chicks live. Obviously that concert I mentioned earlier that was, with a bunch of different artists. Like, I honestly, I can't keep track of how many concerts I've actually been to. So I've seen some of the greatest musical acts, I would say, the last couple of decades live, and been very fortunate. This one takes the cake. Literally, this one takes the cake. Nobody touches it whatsoever. Absolutely insane. And I don't say that. I don't say that lightly. Like, this absolutely was the best concert I have ever been to. Not only was the music good, but the theatrics and the entertainment. It was a show for 2.5 hours. It entertained. It wasn't somebody going up there singing, playing music. It was literally somebody putting on a show for 2.5 hours. And I don't know. All I'm saying is, I know she's in LA in like a week and a half. I don't know if the tour's winding down. I think it's been going on for about a year now. If you have a chance to go to this tour before it leaves, or if you're in SoCal, get tickets. You will not be disappointed. So I'm just saying, it was one of those concerts, like, you could sign me up the next day to watch it all over again, and I would pay, the crazy ticket price for it. It's worth every last cent, hands down. So I went to Pink over the weekend. That was absolutely a ton of fun. Would do again. # would do. But she's funny too, right? When she does her, when she goes up there and reads signs and stuff like that. It was just, like I said, top to bottom concert was completely entertaining. Pink happened. And then other stuff we get to talk about right in this opening segment. I guess the big one would be, we got a new show dropping this week. That's right. Another show, my third one. And I know we talked about it last week and it didn't happen. When you've got a corporate sponsor, sometimes guys like me get a little ahead of ourselves. You gotta work through the corporate channels, get things. So everything's signed, sealed, delivered. I am happy to say tomorrow, Wednesday, if you're listening live, this is Tuesday. Tomorrow, Wednesday, if you're listening on demand, it's already available. Wednesday, we will be releasing the 4-wheel parts Down and Dirty Show Off-Road Edition. It's also powered by Polaris RZR. But the 4-wheel parts Down and Dirty Show Off-Road Edition will be dropping on Wednesday. My first guest going to be my man, Joey D. You know him, the founder of UTV Underground. He now works for 4-wheel parts. But we talk off-road industry, trends, all things dirt. And that's what that show is all about. A lot of you, this show is many, we're doing amazing. We're national syndication. We have crazy listenership online. But we talk all things motorsports, not just off-road anymore. And our show started out the first 6 months, year, 2 years. All we were was off-road, it was off-road, short course, desert, rocks. That's all we were. And then we started, covering a little bit of this and a little bit of that and NHRA and drag racing and, and things like that. And guests coming in and the show's blown up. It's literally blown up. But I realized that some of our listeners are off-road people and that they feel left out, and some of them don't tune in as often as they used to. So that being said, we're going back to the roots with this new show. This show will still be Tuesdays if you're listening in national syndication, Saturdays and Sundays. That is still there. If you're listening on the American Forces Network, thank you for your service. But this new show is going to be available on Wednesdays. It's online only, won't be in national syndication. It'll be available on our website, Podcast One, etc., but also on iTunes, on demand on iTunes. And the good news is if you subscribe to this show right now on iTunes, you're going to get the new show. It's going to be in the same feed, so you won't have to subscribe twice. I'm not going to do that. So if you hit that subscribe button on iTunes to the Down and Dirty Show, every week you're going to get both shows just boom, 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 beamed right into your phone, your iPad, your iPod. Anybody have iPods anymore? I don't know. Is that even still a thing? Your computer, your PC, your Mac. Does anybody use PCs anymore? Well, I know there's a lot of PC users. I've been on a Mac for like 10 years, so I don't know. I can't even use a Windows computer anymore. But so it's going to be boom right there, available instantaneously if you subscribe on iTunes. So new show. dropping the Down and Dirty, or the Four Wheel Parts Down and Dirty Show Off-Road Edition. It's going to be dropping starting tomorrow, Wednesday, April 3rd. Available on iTunes, my website, Podcast One, and wherever you get the Down and Dirty Radio Show, aside from national syndication. So very much looking forward to having that show out there in the wild, in the flesh. We're going to do some more long-form interviews with some of the people in and around off-road. So, new lineup is going to be Down and Dirty Radio Show powered by Polaris RZR on Tuesdays. Four Wheel Parts Down and Dirty Show Off-Road Edition Wednesdays, Project Action on Podcast One on Thursdays. So boom, 3 days a week you're going to be pumped with content from us. I'm excited about it. Hopefully you guys are pumped. If you're an off-road fan, you're going to love this. I've been wanting to do this for about a year now and go back to our roots, and now we officially pulled the trigger. It is happening this week, and I am stoked. All right, we are going to take a short commercial break here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show powered by Polaris RZR. The next segment, we've got some big news with Fernando Alonso to talk about. The owner of the Dodgers, he's going off-road racing. Yeah, I said that. And we are going to be talking about that. We got a ton of news to talk about, a lot to catch up on. We're bringing a new partner on board as well. So this is a fun show. Not only that, we got Tiffany Stone also coming up here in hour number 1 as well. So don't want to go anywhere. It's going to be a fun ride here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by, you guessed it, Polaris RZR. Are you looking for a place to push yourself behind the wheel and see how your driving skills stack up? Dirtfish Rally School is that place. Located on 315 acres of pristine automotive playground at the foot of the Cascade Mountains in Snoqualmie, Washington, right outside of Seattle. Dirtfish Rally School is a one-of-a-kind place where everyone from first-time drivers to seasoned professionals like Bucky Lassick and Antoine Lestage can push themselves to their limit. Whether driving the high-performance, rally-prepped all-wheel drive Subaru Impreza STI is what you're looking for, or you'd rather hang it all out in the rear-wheel drive Subaru BRZs, Dirtfish Rally School has something for everyone. Classes are available from 2 hours to 3 full days and feature instructors with over 150 years of combined racing experience. Whether you're looking to become the best and get an edge on the competition, or just looking to freshen your skills behind the wheel, Dirtfish Rally School is the place to go. For more information on registering for classes, visit Dirtfish on the web at dirtfish.com, or to check out the latest happenings from Dirtfish, follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Dirtfish Rally.
Thanks for tuning in to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, available live online, in syndication on networks across the U.S., and available internationally on the American Forces Network.
Oh man, that was a hell of a ride. Go check out mymedic.com for the best first aid kits on the planet and save 15% with discount code JimBeaver. Again, mymedic.com, discount code JimBeaver, and save 15%. It's cheaper than a fuel.
Yeah, hope you like that. That is our new partner, My Medic. Stoked to have them on board with my race program and the Down and Dirty Radio Show. You know, when you get a partner that you believe in their product like I do, My Medic, it makes it really easy. And these guys have a sense of humor. If you can't appreciate that quick spot, you can't appreciate much when it comes to podcasting and radio. But My Medic, yeah, they make first aid kits for just about anything. So if you're like me, and this is like not a live read, this is me legit just talking to you guys. I own all kinds of first aid kits in the past, right? And then I found My Medic, and then I actually became involved with the company. But you know, like first aid kits, they just, you know, the crap ones you buy at the drugstore. There's a couple of Band-Aids and some Neosporin in there, and maybe some medical tape. That crap doesn't do anything, right? My Medic, they tailor make first aid kits for what we do. So whether you're in a trophy truck like me, you're out in the UTVs, you're on your dirt bike, if you're a snowboarder, if you're a hiker, if you're a hunter, if you're just a soccer mom and want something to put in your purse, My Medic makes a first aid kit. You go to mymedic.com, check it out. They've got they've got all kinds of first aid kits tailor-made for what you need, all packaged into these tight little bundles in like little amazing little bags. They fold right open, and we're not talking just Band-Aids and Neosporin. We're talking about legit stuff where if your kid or you or a friend is injured and you're out somewhere away from medical treatment, you can legit save lives, help them out until you can get them to a place where they can be worked on, you know what I mean, or medically safe. So My Medic's stoked to have them on board. They did put together, like I said, that coupon code, 15% off. Use a coupon Jim Beaver at mymedic.com. We're going to be talking a lot more about them. I know at some point they love off-road racing. So at some point we're going to have one of them on air to talk about just talk some fun and shenanigans and stuff like that. But mymedic.com, use a coupon code Jim Beaver, 15% off. Stoked to have them on board as part of the program. So My Medic, stoked to have them on. But we did have some big news. I know if you guys subscribe to our mailing list, if you've been on the website or my social media in the past 24 hours, you saw some big news. And if you know me, you know I've talked on the show a million times about it. I love baseball, right? And baseball season is upon us. And this isn't a betonline.ag pitch like you would hear on Project Action. This is a Jim Beaver pitch. I love baseball. I played for the longest time. Honestly, I had an opportunity to play college baseball. I didn't do it because I wanted to be a professional off-road racer. Now, probably sometimes I wonder if taking the baseball career path probably would have been a more lucrative deal than becoming quote-unquote professional off-road racer and radio personality. Probably would have benefited me better in the long run, but who knows if I would ever actually made it to the pros or even the minor leagues. But big baseball fan nonetheless, and I love it, and I've had these arguments with friends of mine because I say it is one of the most complicated sports to play. Just there's so much going on at any given time. It's just I love the strategy behind the sport of baseball, and it's one of those few sports where you can fail 70% of the time and still be an elite player. It's that tough to play. So anyways, big baseball fan, right? The owner of the Los Angeles Dodgers, Mr. Bobby Patton, decided he wanted to go off-road racing. Now, if you read the press release, I think we're going to have Mr. Patton on the show at some point in the next couple of weeks. That's right, the owner of Dodgers on the Down and Dirty Radio Show. Who would have thought? I don't know, not me, but stoked on that or the potential of that anyways. So he decided he wanted to go off-road racing. So they got this 1973 Land Cruiser a year and a half ago and showed up the Baja 1000. And this is all, stories that I hear about Bobby Patton. I mean, this is like vintage class, whatever. So they get in this car, they start bouncing down the Baja Peninsula. They're going to race the Baja 1000, right? Just to run what you brung, show up. We're doing the Baja 1000. They're bouncing along. It's like the middle of the night, like 3 a.m. They get to some little Mexican village down south, a couple 100 miles from the finish line, and they decide, you know what? We're over it, man. This is hot. We're tired. We're sweaty. Why are we going to go to the finish? We can say we raced the Baja 1000. Done, right? So Bobby and team, they load the Land Cruiser on the trailer, and literally they had one chase truck. That's it. Truck and trailer, that was it to carry the race car on. So they load it up. They go to this little town. They find taco shop in the middle of the night, eat some tacos, find a little hotel, take a shower, go to sleep. They wake up the next morning. They're eating breakfast, and they've got the tracking box, and they got to return it to the tracking company. So they call the tracking company, said, hey, we need to return this. We're in the middle of nowhere, Mexico. What's the best way to return this tracking box? Well, tracking company goes, well, what's the matter? Are you out of the race? They're like, well, kind of. They're like, what's the matter with the race vehicle? They go, nothing. We just kind of over it. Tracking company goes, so the car runs? And they go, yeah. And they go, you realize we still have your tracker, right now. We see where you're sitting. They're like, if you can get to the finish line, they're like, you realize you're still in first place. And they looked at each other like, what? And the tracking company goes, yeah, you're in first place. If you can get to the finish line, you're going to win the Baja 1000. These guys go, oh, wow. So they throw on their suits. They throw on their suits. They grab their helmets. They unload the truck. They take it back to the course where they got off. They drive all the way to the finish line, win the freaking Baja 1000. So that is how the owner of the Los Angeles Dodgers got hooked on off-road. So he goes back, he goes back to everyday life, and he's talking with a friend. And so he goes, I want to go faster. So he calls our good friends at Jimco. Orders a spec trophy truck, a 6100 truck, just on the blue. Calls the 1-800-JIMCO line, whatever their phone number is. It's not 1-800-JIMCO, but calls 1-800-JIMCO. Orders a spec trophy truck, 6100 in Best in the Desert, as you know them, and Yeah, and you know what? He is off and racing, right? Things finished. We put out a press release, we helped distribute the press release, but it's up on our website. Check out the feature. The truck is absolutely beautiful. And Bobby Patton, the owner of the Los Angeles Dodgers, he is going spec TT racing this weekend at San Felipe. He's hired Ricky Johnson as his driving coach, and I think it's I don't know. It's a crazy story. I love stories like that, right? Big news. Owner of the Los Angeles Dodgers going freaking trophy truck spec racing in SCORE. Like, that is massive news, mainstream stuff. And if you're a Dodger fan, you got to be stoked on that. It gives you another truck to root for. So that's some big news. And then even bigger news in the sport of off-road. I got a couple of sound bites, but Fernando Alonso, that is right, Mr. Fernando Alonso, has up and decided that he wanted to test a Toyota Dakar rally vehicle. So Fernando Alonso went down to South Africa and tested Nasser Al-Attiyah's Dakar-winning Toyota Hilux in the Kalahari Desert. I've read a little bit on this, but we got a couple of sound bites on Alonso, kind of a before and after. So I'm going to hit these sound bites right now and play them for you, and and then we'll kind of talk about it afterwards. So here is Alonso kind of before the test. It's a video, so you'll hear maybe some noise in the background, some music and stuff like that. But we're just kind of pulling these sound bites of Fernando Alonso.
Well, I came here to South Africa to have the opportunity. I had the opportunity thanks to Toyota and Gazoo Racing to test the Dakar winning car on the last Dakar. And I've been testing different series and different cars in the last couple of years, and it's a great opportunity to test something very different of what I'm used to drive. And I'm curious to jump in the car to see how it goes. And the next 20 minutes is going to be some tension.
All right, so that was kind of him before the test talking about it. And I think this is huge. You got a Formula One world champion. He left Formula One. Obviously, he's doing the Indy 500 this year. He did Le Mans. He's done, the Rolex 24 at Daytona. Here's a guy who just wants to drive anything and everything. I know he tested Jimmy Johnson's NASCAR. He's eyeing that. I think this is amazing, that he wants to potentially try Dakar, and this isn't, don't get me wrong. If Alonso, if he's going to South Africa to test, this is serious. You don't just fly to South Africa and test a Dakar vehicle because you want to see what one drives like. Does not happen. So here's Alonso after the test.
It felt okay, actually. I think, we built the speed a little bit slowly, lap after lap, and getting more confident. Obviously, still. Especially the bumps, difficult to read how high they are and how much speed you can carry on. But the car feels great, very good grip, good balance, good power, and braking as well. So everything feels amazing. So really happy.
Yeah, so that was him after the test. It's funny he mentions, the bumps and reading the terrain and stuff like that. And obviously the speed and the brake points and stuff like that are going to be changed. But, it's easy to get a guy like that up to speed. But the bumps, that's what's different, man. And I think Jensen Button learned that at the Mint 400. But I don't know, my takeaway from all this is just this is big, Fernando Alonso even eyeing, Dakar. And this is probably a couple-year process. I don't think this is, hey, we're going to see him next year. But He dips his toes in the water, Alonso does, and sees what comes back. And I think he's got that great relationship with Toyota. It potentially could be next year, maybe the year after that. But I think at some point, just after this, we'll probably see him in some type of rally raid, and I'm assuming Dakar. And I think it's rather Dakar's got, to be that destination where all these drivers at some point in their career, they want to go and try it out. I think that's pretty rad. So Fernando Alonso trying his hand at off-road and rally raid. Gotta love that. Anyways, we're going to take a short break. We come back. Tiffany Stone, she's going to be on the line here with me right here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. I'm Polaris rider Jim Beaver. I race trophy trucks professionally, host a Down and Dirty radio show, and also travel the country announcing motorsports events. I've seen it all, and trust me, I've done most of it. So when it comes time to relax on the weekend, nothing is better than taking time with my family in our RZR vehicles. They've got the reliability I need to just pick up and go explore the desert, dunes, or trail, and have the capability to attack even the harshest terrain. If you're looking for some of the most reliable and safest and hands down most capable off-road machines in the world, look no further than Polaris and their award-winning lineup of RZR vehicles. Whether you want your daughter to experience off-road driving for the first time in a RZR 170 like me, take the entire family out in a RZR XP4 1000 on the weekend, or shred the desert and dunes in the all-new RZR XP 1000 Fox Edition, Polaris has you handled. Take my advice and join me and some of the best drivers in the world by driving a Polaris RZR. Check out the full Polaris RZR lineup at Polaris.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris RZR. Anywhere is possible. It's more than just a slogan. Anywhere is possible with General Tire's wide variety of tires for whatever it is that you drive. Whether you're looking for off-road capability balanced with impressive on-road performance or ultra-high performance offering all-season traction designed with a driving enthusiast in mind, General Tire has what you need to get where you're going. General Tire, providing anywhere is possible with the Down and Dirty Radio Show since 2012. Hey, this is Jim Beaver, host of the Down and Dirty Radio Show. Getting down and dirty on the racetrack is all fun and games until it's time to get the dirt off. I know it all too well, which is why I partnered with MotoShield Pro, the leaders in nanotechnology solutions on the racetrack and in off-road to combat mud and dirt buildup on my vehicles. MotoShield Pro keeps us from taking unnecessary damage and spending extra energy on cleaning. No matter the weather or the surface, having proper protection on all my vehicles saves me plenty of reprep time in a sport where every second counts. Prep your vehicle like a pro. Learn more at motoshieldpro.com. When looking for a new wheel for your off-road vehicle, car, truck, or UTV, the choice is easy. You choose what the pros use. Rob McCachran, Keegan Kincaid, and myself, Jim Beaver, all exclusively use Vision Wheel, whether we're dominating Baja, taking the cup at Crandon, or shredding UTVs. Vision Wheel's trend-setting designs and durability will set you apart from the competition and your friends. Check out visionwheel.com or at Vision Wheel on social media to learn more. Do you race or are you a weekend warrior? Have you checked on the date on your helmet recently? Don't get caught off guard by using an outdated helmet. Impact Racing, the leader in motorsport safety, has new SA 2015 helmets to fit your budget. Whether you're looking for a helmet with a full carbon fiber shell to take you to victory at the Indy 500 or just looking for some helmets for a weekend at Glamis, Impact Racing has a helmet for you. Find out more information at impactraceproducts.com or on Facebook at Impact Safety.
Like what you hear? Catch all the back episodes of the Down and Dirty Radio Show on Apple Podcast and be sure to rate, review, and subscribe.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. I'd like to welcome T-Stone and her rules to live by to the show. What's happening, Tiffany?
Not much, just enjoying the sunshine here in Michigan, getting ready for Worlds coming up, and that's about it.
Yeah, the sun in Michigan. I think literally a month ago you were bitching about the snow in Michigan. Now it's the sun.
No, you're actually going to die laughing. It snowed this past weekend here in Michigan. Like I woke up Sunday to like maybe a quarter of an inch of snow, but still, I mean, there was snow on the ground when I woke up, and I'm like, are you kidding me? It's going to be April in 2 days, and it's snowing.
Yeah. I always feel bad for people in the Midwest and like in Michigan and, places like Minnesota and stuff like that, because you guys get so much snow and then you have these beautiful summers too. But it's like here in the Southwest, I need one toy and it's a Polaris RZR, but I feel bad because I feel like if you're in Michigan like you, like what do you decide on, a Polaris snowmobile or do you decide on a Polaris RZR? Because it's like I feel like it's like half the year you want one, half the year you want the other. Like I feel like you guys have tough choices to make. Us in the Southwest, it's an easy choice.
Well, and that's the thing. Like sometimes you're better off just going with like just getting a RZR instead of a snowmobile because there's no guarantee that it's going to snow. But at least you could dress for the weather and still take the RZR out in the snow. So that's the way I would go, to be honest.
Yeah, I've actually seen some pop up. There's Al Macbeth, actually, he's a Polaris RZR guy. He's the guy that does like the world record jumps and stuff like that. He's got a rad one. He's up there in Canada. He's got one with snow tracks on it, a RZR. I'm like, that is the hot ticket right there, is to get a RZR and then get like the snow track kit. I think that'd be hella fun.
No, that's kind of what yeah. Okay. Done deal. But that's what we're going for, Jim. That's the next birthday. My birthday's in May, so I mean, there's not going to be snow, but at least you can get a good discount on it.
So are you hinting at something like, hey, I need a bonus. Just get me a RZR.
Yeah, I didn't even say anything. I was just like, oh, cool. Yeah, my birthday's in May. Just kind of nonchalantly went over that.
Yeah, just slide that in there. Let me just sign the title over to my race car to you, T-Stone.
Yes, see, I don't let people slide into my DMs. I let them slide titles over to me.
Yeah. No, so that is something new. You do not accept direct messages? Is that the way that works?
No, it's all kinds of weird. I know that we've had that conversation with Pleasant Cook, 4x4 Barbie and stuff, and her DM thing is crazy. And honestly, you would be really surprised. I don't get a lot of inappropriate pictures. I don't get a lot of that. Maybe I don't show enough TNA. I don't know, but I'm okay with that. Honestly, I'm quite all right with that. And most of the DMs I get are either people asking like legit questions or different companies, or people being like, hey, what kind of headlights do you have? What kind of lift kit do you have? Wheels, tires? But no, I don't get any creepy things. I'm kind of thankful for that.
Those are actually the fun questions. Like, I love getting those. Like, I'll get people like, hey, listen to your show. I want to start a podcast. How do I do it? Hey, I've got a razor. What do you think I should do? I'm having this, I want to go and do this. What company makes a product that would really help me out? Like, I love questions like that. You know what I mean? Like, I get people all the time like, hey, I'm looking for sponsorship. What would be the first step you would go? Like, I love helping people with those type of questions. Like, and once in a while I get the hater DMs and things like that. You know what I mean? And it's just like, you just delete them or move on or whatever. But like, those are the fun DMs like that. Like, I feel like you're helping people or at least giving some kind of advice. Like, I love getting those, No,
I do too. And so it's kind of cool. And it's cool when they actually like listen to some of the stuff that you've done, or they give you actual like, hey, I was listening on Tuesday, or I watched this. And I mean, it's really cool because with the use of social media and Instagram and stuff, you can kind of put yourself out there. You can do what you want. You no longer have to listen or kind of be molded into it. And it's kind of cool because, people really get to know who you are through their Instagram stories. So if you watch my Instagram stories, I rock Adidas all the time. I have a cat named Swisher, and I like playing volleyball. I mean, that's more to it, but it's cool about it. Don't you agree, though? It gives you a little insight in who they really are.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing about social media, though, is right? It's the authenticity, and there's a lot of people that it's like, it's like you and I mean, I've got friends that are models and things like this, and this is not throwing them under the bus because they've got, what I mean? They've got their way, they've got to make money, they've got whatever their image is, but it's like every single photo is like bikini pic, bikini pic, bikini pic, bikini pic, bikini pic. And I'm like, seriously, like people don't get to know you. They have no idea who you are when that's all you post up there. You know what I mean? Like to me, like I get you have to do that, you know what I mean? For, obviously you book gigs through that and stuff like that, but I feel like, with yours, it's more inauthentic, and I think mine's the same way. Sometimes I'm out at razors, sometimes I'm at an event, sometimes I'm shooting guns. Like, I try and make it a mix, and obviously there's commercial stuff. Hey, we got so-and-so on the radio show this week, but like I try and make it like, hey, here's me doing fun stuff, and this is kind of who I am. Like to me, and I think that's with you. You're out jeeping and you're playing volleyball. Like it's a more real you people get, and I think that's what that's what attaches people to.
No, and I really, really agree with you on a lot of those instances because, I talked to the Fault UTV guys the last time we were out at MIT, and they were like, we kind of knew about you, Tiffany. We knew this, but then when we started watching your Instagram stories, they kind of really get into it. And like, I need to put this out there. Sometimes I just post stuff because it's funny, not because it's actually like going on in my life. But then other times I try to post positivity. And, it is. Some things are a deep reflection into your soul, I guess, if you want to get all that way, or like what's kind of going on in your life. And I like it for that aspect too. And you're right. Like, I don't mean to knock on all the people, but we get it. You're hot. You look great in a bikini. You make all of us feel really insecure about ourselves, but like, hey, what else we got here? Do you speak?
Well, and and that it's funny too because I wonder with their social followings. Like, I feel like I've got a pretty, like the people who follow me, and I feel like, what I mean, because of what I do and things like that. And so like, it's a real following. Like they interact, they engage, they understand. Like with you, it's the same thing. Like if you were to throw up, bikini pic after bikini pic, I think you and I both know you could probably double your social media following in a month, depending on what you throw out there. But those people that are following you aren't necessarily following you for the rad stuff and the really you. They're following you for those pictures,
No, exactly. And that's the thing. Like, I come from the modeling world. I come from Maxim, FHM, Sports Illustrated. Yes, I could post all that all the time, but then it's like the people who are really engaged about off-roading and the Jeeps and, desert life and stuff like that. I mean, they don't, sure, that's awesome, but I want to be respectable in that. And so it's kind of like a thin line. And, I've talked to some other cool people in the off-road industry that are like photographers and multimedia people and stuff. And they were just mentioning, they're like, hey, you play a really good line. It's a lot of like, yes, I'm still a girl. Yes, I'm still sexy. I do all this stuff, but here's all the cool things. And it is. Sometimes you have to teeter-totter on that little thin line. Another great person who does it is Kate Osborne. Like I love Kate. If mine and Kate's stories, we come from the Torque days and stuff. But like she plays a really good teeter-totter line. Like I'm a cute all-American blonde. I was a swimmer. I do this. I do that. But also, please take me seriously because I really am a good, reporter and I do all these things. So it's like Kate does it really well as, somebody that I look up to for that.
Yeah. Well, and you and I both know too, like when you start booking TV jobs and things like that, and even me, like I'm very conscious of what I put out there. It's the real me, but there's certain lines you don't cross because when you're booking TV work and you have an ESPN or CBS Sports, they go to your social media. They literally, before they do anything, they go and click on there and they know immediately by what you're posting if they're willing to put you on network television or if this guy might be a little too edgy, we're not going to go there. So it's like you ride that fine line. There's an authentic you, but then there's also like, hey, like some of the stuff you can't post,
No, and then, like I get it. Like I said, I come from the modeling world. I have, quote unquote bikini pics or lingerie pics or whatnot. Sure, all you have to do is Google them and find them. So sometimes I'll do like throwbacks but all of them are tastefully done. It's things that I could actually print out and hand to my mom and be like, okay, I would be happy about this. So, I've never pushed it that far because when I was starting and when I did all this, like I always told myself, I don't want a 15-minute career. I want a 15-year career. This is what I want to do because once it's out there, it's out there. I always say that how much do you think, whatever body part you're trying to show or whatever, how much do you think that's worth? Because if you think it's worth nothing and it's for free, then you already put it out there. Yeah. And that's something for anybody and advice and stuff that you do. What do you think you're worth?
Yeah. Truth. You're speaking the truth. Keystone rules to live by right there. Anyways, let's talk some UTV World Championship. We got that coming up this weekend. I know you and I will both be out there. We're going to be recording some interviews out there from Contingency on Friday. But past that, I don't know, you were there last year. I know we had some fun with Dak Shepard, but talking about this year, what are you thinking? I mean, obviously we got Mitch Guthrie Jr. He is on one hell of a roll, coming off KOH win and a win at the Mint. We got Seth Quintero. He's coming off back-to-back Best in the Desert wins. I mean, we got some momentum carried by a couple of these cats right into this weekend.
No, I agree with you, and we've talked about this before, and Ricky Johnson has said it, and I always love saying this, but Ricky always says, winning breeds confidence, and that's kind of what happens. And all these young guys, they keep winning, and they're doing great things, and they're doing back-to-backs and stuff like that, and that's all the confidence sometimes that you need. I really believe once you start believing in yourself, everybody can tell you all the time, you got this, you can do this, you can do that, we need this, we need that. But it's a little bit different because once you're like, yes, I can do this, that's kind of sometimes all that you need too. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing what some people can do, especially Seth. I really want to see what Seth can do here, especially winning it before.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be a fun one for sure. I know we're going to have some fun out there. I don't know, Laughlin does not disappoint. I think it's rad. We got Matt on the show today, and as well, and it seemed like last year and the year before, everything was so crammed in. It was like everything was crammed into one day. Now it's kind of spread out. Got kids racing on Friday. Got, the desert races on Saturday. Sunday morning, they're going to do the short course races. I think it's going to be a lot more fun. It's going to be, I guess, less crammed into Saturday, which I think makes it more enjoyable for everybody.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it, especially like the youth races. The youth races are always awesome because it's all of them out there. This is before they learn, some of the hardships about losing and what you have to do to, always stay on top. And like the greatest thing is after the races with all the youth kids, they're like, okay, let's go with our RC cars now. Let's go do this. Let's go do this. And those guys out there have some of the best sportsmanship that I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, and I love the kids races because you've got the parents and they've got like their rugged headsets and and they're like spotting for their kids, and like I love that, seeing the parents like go 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 yelling in their yelling in the headset of their kids, and I mean like yelling like excited, you know what I mean, not like yelling at the kid, but like they're so pumped up, like the parents are just as excited as the kids, and the kids pull the helmet off and win or lose, they have like the biggest grin on their face. It's like priceless moments right there,
No, I do. And the best part, too, is like you're saying that, the parents are yelling at their kids, do this, go, 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 and like amping them up. And sometimes, honestly, I get a chance to talk to some of the dads, and they always tell me that they're more nervous spotting for their kids than they are driving. Like I've talked to some of them in the short course world and like the desert, and talked to Shannon Campbell and stuff. He's like, honestly, Tiffany, I know they can do this, but sometimes I get more nervous for them than they are when they drive, because Bailey knows what's going on, or Waylon knows what he's doing. And so it's cool to talk, and especially to get a chance to talk to the parents too during the race.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, UTV World Championship this weekend. T-Stone and I, we will be out there holding it down on Friday, but definitely be around all weekend. Make sure and stop by, say hey, and I don't know, we got to wrap things up, but thanks for calling in, T-Stone.
Thank you. Until next time.
And we'll be back after this on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. It's more than just a slogan. Anywhere is possible with General Tire. General Tire's Grabber X3 Mud Terrain tire offers aggressive styling and is engineered for durability with innovative performance features that are ready to carry you through extreme mud, dirt, and rock-covered terrain. For extreme traction that's ready for anything and rugged styling to match, look no further than the Grabber X3 from General Tire. Make your anywhere possible by visiting GeneralTire.com today. General Tire, aggressive styling with the Down and Dirty Radio Show since 2012.
Come to the island and rip it up this summer. Wakeboard Island. It's a skate park on water at Blue Water Resort and Casino. Check out the 2-tower cable system that pulls you and your board over the water. No boats to watch out for. No fumes. Wakeboard Island is open to all skill levels with an open center section for beginners. And for trick riders, a double side kicker in a 60-foot flat box. Wakeboard Island. The best ride this side of the Rockies. Adjacent to the River's Edge Cantina at Blue Water Resort and Casino on the Colorado River in Parker, Arizona.
Like what you hear? Catch all the back episodes of the Down and Dirty Radio Show on Apple Podcast, and be sure to rate, review, and subscribe.
All right. Well, if that wasn't one heck of an hour number one as we kind of wrap up this first hour, I don't know what is, but I don't know. So we had Tiffany Stone shenanigans. We had Fernando Alonso Dakar. We're debuting a new show. We talked about Pink. We talked about the owner of the Los Angeles Dodgers. We had My Medic mixed in there. I don't know if you can pack much more into an hour than we just did, at least an opening hour to a show. But, yeah, if you're just tuning in, thanks for joining us. This is the Down and Dirty Radio Show powered by Polaris RZR. And, yeah, as we head into, I guess, this mid-show break here, I do want to tell you guys that we've been cranking out a ton of content on the website. Chris Leone been holding it down there. Make sure and check us out, downanddirtyshow.com. If you're looking for motorsports news updates, daily ongoings, breaking news, downanddirtyshow.com is your home for all of that. Things like the owner of the Los Angeles Dodgers going trophy truck spec racing at San Felipe. Yeah, boom. That was right there on our website yesterday. So, yeah, it's a good home for everything. And not only that, I've got all my shows, Down and Dirty Show, Project Action, and the new 4-wheel parts, Down and Dirty Show Off-Road Edition. It's all there at downanddirtyshow.com. And you can also subscribe to those shows right over there on iTunes. That is right. iTunes is going to be your home for my new show and this show. If you want to get it boomed beamed right to your phone. Hit us up on iTunes. Subscribe to the shows. You're going to get them all right there instantaneously. Also, check out Project Action, my show that drops on Thursdays, more of a mainstream show, and we cover a bit of everything over there on Project Action. It's got its own feed with Podcast One, but make sure and check out that show as well. All right, hour number 2, we've got Power Rankings with Chris Leone, and we've got Matt Martelli calling into the show as well. We'll be talking about UTV World Championship. If you got any questions you want answered, hit me up. It's at JimBeaver15 on social media. I love the fan questions. Won't be answering anything on Instagram, so I get a lot of DMs on Instagram with questions. I will answer those, but just can't do them live because I don't check my Instagram DMs. Twitter, easiest way to get a hold of me right now if you want a question on the show. It is at JimBeaver15. All right, we're going to take a short commercial break, and when we come back, we're kicking off hour number 2 right here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Extreme performance, reliability, and the most fun you can have on 4 wheels? The Polaris RZR brings it to you. But you don't need to take my word for it. You can take theirs.
I'm Tanner Faust, and I choose the Polaris RZR because it's the most fun you can have with a steering wheel.
What's up? I'm Ronnie Renner, and I choose Polaris RZR because it's the sickest, most reliable side-by-side on the planet.
What's up, everybody? Heavy D from Diesel Brothers. Listen, I'm on Team RZR because it's hands down the best piece of machinery on the planet.
I'm RJ Anderson, and I choose Polaris RZR because it's the most fun, most capable machine.
Action sports stars, TV personalities, and some of the best race car drivers in the world all choose Polaris RZR because it's the ultimate combination of power, suspension, agility, and fun. Find out more information on the web at PolarisRZR.com or follow at Polaris RZR on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and use the hashtag RazorLife to share your story. Whether you're looking for a tire that balances high performance responsiveness and traction in wet and light snow conditions, excellent handling and traction in wet and dry conditions, or a summer performance tire designed with the driving enthusiast in mind, General Tire has you covered. From the all-new G-Max RS to the Grabber ATX, no matter what you drive, General Tire will get you where you're going. Learn more at GeneralTire.com. General Tire, cruising with the Down and Dirty Radio Show since 2012. When looking for a new wheel for your off-road vehicle, car, truck, or UTV, the choice is easy. You choose what the pros use. Rob McCachran, Keegan Kincaid, and myself, Jim Beaver, all exclusively use Vision Wheel, whether we're dominating Baja, taking the cup at Crandon, or shredding UTVs. Vision Wheel's trend-setting designs and durability will set you apart from the competition and your friends. Check out VisionWheel.com or at Vision Wheel on social media to learn more.
Thanks for tuning in to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, available live online, in syndication on networks across the U.S., and available internationally on the American Forces Network.
All right, welcome back here to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Kicking off hour number 2. If you just joined us nationally, thanks for tuning in for hour number 2. I've got some motorsports power rankings, which has quickly become... I guess my favorite segments of the show, because I get to talk about all kinds of motorsports. Like this show, you would think in 2 hours you can hit on everything that happened in the world of motorsports, and you over a given weekend, and you just can't. That's what's crazy about it. You just can't. So, like, these power rankings, it's been really nice because now, like, boom, in one segment we can hit on, like, every single motorsport. I think it's been a great addition to the show. Feedback's been solid on it. So, yeah, I'm really, really excited to be able to do those every week. So that's coming up. And then, obviously, Matt Martelli on the line talking about the UTV World Championship, one of the big events this weekend. Before we get to that, though, we had Supercross, our good friends at Supercross. Hopefully we can get back to getting some more Supercross riders on the show. But, yeah, we were in Houston. It was, I guess, the third part of this Triple Crown series. We had 250s and 450s in action, obviously. Main event number 1 on the 250 sides, it was Adam Cianciarulo, Ferrandis, and Hampshire. And then main event number 2, it was Ferrandis, Hampshire, Marchbanks, new name in there, Garrett Marchbanks, sliding onto the podium. Main event 3 was Colton Nichols, Ferrandis, and Cianciarulo, which gave us our overall as Ferrandis, Hampshire, and Colt Nichols. Current point standings there, it is Cianciarulo, Ferrandis, and Nichols as well. So moving up to the 450s. That is right, 450s. Yeah, it was a little bit different show. I love this. It's so hard to put together 3 solid races in one night. It's so tough. But Ken Roxon taking the top spot, main event number 1, Cooper Webb, Dean Wilson. Then main event number 2 was Cooper Webb, Dean Wilson, Marvin Musquin. And then main event number 3 was Marvin, Tomac, and Cooper Webb, which gave us our overall winner, Cooper Webb. Marvin there in the second spot, and Dean Wilson slotting in there with his couple of podiums in the mains for the third place overall, which gives us our point standings in the 450s. Cooper Webb, Marvin, and Tomac 1, 2, and 3 in the points for this season. Then looking at the total points, though, man, it's Cooper got quite a lead, about 17 points over Marvin. Obviously, Tomac in third, but Kenner Oxen hanging tight. He's 10 points back at Tomac. Blake Baggett having a really good, consistent season. He's there in fifth. Wilson, Savachi, Seeley, Chad Reed, Mr. CR22, and and then Justin Barsha. All right, we are going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to have Power Rankings right here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. I'm Polaris rider Jim Beaver. I race trophy trucks professionally, host a Down and Dirty radio show, and also travel the country announcing motorsports events. I've seen it all, and trust me, I've done most of it, so when it comes time to relax on the weekend, nothing is better than taking time with my family in our RZR vehicles. They've got the reliability I need to just pick up and go explore the desert, dunes, or trail, and have the capability to attack even the harshest terrain. If you're looking for some of the most reliable and safest, and hands down most capable off-road machines in the world, look no further than Polaris and their award-winning lineup of RZR vehicles. Whether you want your daughter to experience off-road driving for the first time in a RZR 170 like me, take the entire family out in a RZR XP4 1000 on the weekend, or shred the desert and dunes in the all-new RZR XP 1000 Fox Edition, Polaris has you handled. Take my advice and join me and some of the best drivers in the world by driving a Polaris RZR. Check out the full Polaris RZR lineup at Polaris.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris RZR. Anywhere is possible. It's more than just a slogan. Anywhere is possible with General Tire's wide variety of tires for whatever it is that you drive. Whether you're looking for off-road capability balanced with impressive on-road performance or ultra-high performance offering all-season traction designed with a driving enthusiast in mind, General Tire has what you need to get where you're going. General Tire, providing anywhere is possible with the Down and Dirty Radio Show since 2012. Looking to have some fun on four wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle in Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount.
Come to the island and rip it up this summer. Wakeboard Island. It's a skate park on water at Blue Water Resort and Casino. Check out the 2-tower cable system that pulls you and your board over the water. No boats to watch out for, no fumes. Wakeboard Island is open to all skill levels with an open center section for beginners and for trick riders, a double sidekicker in a 60-foot flat box. Wakeboard Island, the best ride this side of the Rockies, adjacent to the River's Edge Cantina at Blue Water Resort and Casino on the Colorado River in Parker, Arizona.
4WP is more than a store. We're truck and Jeep experts and have been for over 50 years. From wheel and tire upgrades to full custom builds, 4WP has you covered. Whether you want to order the best parts online or shop in store, do the work yourself or get it done by a pro, all roads lead to 4WP. Do your rig right. Shop online or find your store at 4WP.com.
You're listening to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. All killer and no filler.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. I'd like to welcome Chris Leone, the media director, communications coordinator for the Down and Dirty Radio Show, to the show, who handles our website. Anyways, Chris, I keep stumbling through these every time we do an intro, man. It's like, I don't know, you gotta love live radio. I just kind of stumble right in. One of these days, I'm going to nail your intro.
it's okay, Jim, because half the time I'm stumbling through my responses to what you're saying. So, birds of a feather, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, are you by any chance a Game of Thrones fan?
I don't pay for cable like that. No,
I'm gonna have to give you my HBO. I'm gonna have to give you my HBO Go login so you can watch Game of Thrones, because like the greatest seasons of TV. But anyways, the final season's coming up, and it's like, who's gonna sit on the Iron Throne? So if you're a Game of Thrones fan, I was gonna introduce you as like Chris Leone, the guy that sits on the Iron Throne, or something like that. Like I had this whole thing planned out in my head, but you're not a Game of Thrones watcher, so like it was all for naught. So yeah, there we go. I don't know. Anyways,
I mean, this maroon office chair that I got a couple of weeks ago, it's not exactly an Iron Throne, but I guess it does the trick.
Yeah, I will say HBO did something really rad. They took, and obviously you don't follow the show, so this is all obviously new to you, but these Iron Thrones, like it's these thrones made out of all these swords. They're absolutely amazing in the show. It's where, King of the World basically sits, and the HBO for the launch of this season coming up this month. Now that we're in April, I can say this month. Me and like half the world are excited about it. They went and hid five Iron Thrones in 5 places around the globe. Like one was in the middle of the desert, nowhere, like Africa. Another one was in deep in a forest in England, and literally gave nobody any clues whatsoever where they are. And people started finding these and tweeting them and stuff like that. And it was kind of rad. They just, like, as a promotional thing, said, "Hey, post up a picture of you on one of these thrones if you can find it." It wasn't like they put them in these easy to find places. It was just, I don't know, you got to love what you can do with social media. I know Tony Hawk a couple of years ago did something like that with skateboards. And he went and like hid skateboard decks in like random spots like around Los Angeles, like under park benches, and and he gave nobody any clue as to where they were. And people went like nuts. They were like signed Tony Hawk decks. And it was like they were like people were finding these randomly in these crazy places in Los Angeles,
So this is your way of breaking to me that we're going to start hiding stuff around Laughlin for UTV Worlds this week, huh?
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't know that anybody would care to find anything at Jim Beaver's. That's the problem here. And I don't have anything cool to give away.
I don't know, stickers, T-shirts, hats. I mean, there's got to be some spare stuff lying around from all the fine partners that we've got. Wink, wink.
Yeah. Well, and that's what's funny. Like, I think people have come immune to get giveaways on social media and stuff. Like, it used to be you could do like a swag bag with like a T-shirt and a hat and, some stickers and koozies, signed poster, and people would like go get excited over it. I think we're like a decade into this whole social media experience. I would say a really legit decade in. I know obviously it stretches back to MySpace time, but I would say like the social media era is really about a decade old at this point, maybe a little bit longer with Facebook and Twitter. But I think people are coming immune to the giveaways and stuff. Like, you have to really step up your social media game, you know what I mean, if you're going to get people invested in a giveaway, because T-shirts, they just don't hack it anymore.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I remember when I used to do them for GRC, and that was pretty much what it was. It was hats, it was T-shirts, we had some pens, stickers. There were a couple of times that I actually gave away parts of race cars if I was able to get them home on the flight, if I was able to fit them in the bag. And I remember we used to do weekly ones, and unfortunately we had to stop because I just started to run out of material. But I remember looking at our Instagram analytics one year when we did this, and we were getting better engagement than Oprah. And I have been proud of that forever, because that's a big deal.
Better engagement than Oprah, and she gives away cars, so that's saying something.
Yeah.
You get a car, and you get a car, and you get a car. Well, you could do that, Chris. You got so many Hot Wheels. You could just start giving away cars, but they're going to be the little 1/64th diecast, right?
Yeah, I mean, we can just word it cleverly. It'd be like, I remember 20 years ago there was some sort of promotion somewhere. I think I saw it in the back page of a magazine where somebody was supposed to get a Toyota for hitting a sales quota, and instead they got a toy Yoda, as in the Star Wars character, went to lawsuit and everything. The person finally got their car, but
that's funny.
Yeah, anything I give away is not going to be a full-size car, and it probably won't have a motor in it, and it may not be good for anything, any larger than little orange track. But God knows I've got some spare stuff, and God knows I could use the space in the spare room closet to give some of that away.
See, I thought about giving away a real car because, my family's got the Ford dealership. I was thinking about, like, once in a while I'll get one of these old Beaters that runs and it's like $600-700 car. I was thinking about buying it and giving away a car. Like, it's going to be a pile of crap, but I can give away a car. I don't know if that would go over well or not, but...
Well, we got 364 days to plan for it.
Yeah.
Right? Because you just do it next April 1st.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess at some point we should get into these power rankings. Probably going to take up 2 segments today. I will tell you, my goal this week was to throw stuff at you to I don't want to say trick Chris Leone, but to make you scratch your head and go, wow. So I went deep. So, I mean, there's a couple givens, but there's a couple that I think that you, Chris, are going to – I'm trying to impress you today. Let's put it that way. So I'm bringing my A game with these power rankings. So just putting it out there, Chris.
All right, here we go. I think I might make your head scratch too, but it might be for different reasons. Okay. I think I had some interesting choices in order in mind. So shall we jump right in with number 5?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. My number 5, I had Dylan Ferrandis. One of the things I think we've seen in Supercross this year is the second that you get that breakthrough first victory, I mean, the floodgates just kind of open. We've seen it with Cooper Webb, and he'll show up in my list later. I've got Ferrandis at number 5, not necessarily through his own fault, because he had better results than Webb this weekend with the 2-1-2 and the Triple Crown. But seeing Adam Santiarula go down in the second main, it took a little bit of the drama out of it, and all Ferrandis really needed to do there from that point was kind of just stay consistent and, not make any mistakes, which obviously that's difficult to do in Supercross. It's more difficult to do when you've got the Triple Crown and you're riding a little more in a main event scenario. But, that said, without Adam's issues, they were 1-1 against one another. They beat each other once apiece in the other couple of races. So Ferrandis absolutely had to make my list, but that's why he's at number 5.
Yeah, I will tell you, I had Ferrandis as one of my honorable mentions this week. So he didn't crack my top 5, and for no apparent reason. I mean, he had an amazing, you know what I mean? It was just, like I said, there was some really good performances this week. So this is going to be a number 1 where I'm trying to impress Chris Leone here. And I say that, listeners, because this guy knows more motorsports than I could ever dream of. So anytime I can make him scratch his head, it's a good day. So number 5, I've got Stewart Haas Racing. So not any particular driver, but 4 of their drivers finished in the top 10 at the NASCAR race this weekend. Boyer at 2nd. We had Suarez in the top 10. We had Amarola at 7th. Harvick at 8th. So collectively 4 drivers from one team in the top 10 in NASCAR in the Premier Division. I figured that is a team effort. I'm going to put Stewart Haas at number 5. So I got to ask you, Chris, what do you think about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they had a run, especially rebounding from qualifying, where Boyer missed the second round entirely thanks to NASCAR's very fluky qualifying system. And Suarez seemed to be the only guy who kind of gamed the system right. I mean, he did a lap on his own, and he managed to get a pretty solid starting spot. So hopefully that starts to bring an end to the gamesmanship that has been absolutely ruining NASCAR qualifying. But I am going to stay in Texas for my number 4.
Okay, hold on.
Denny Hamlin.
I was going to say, you gave it up. It's Denny Hamlin. I agree, but before we get into that, I think we need to take a quick break because we're running up against a break. So Chris teased it. Denny Hamlin at number 4. We are going to take a short break here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. And when we come back, Chris and I, we're going to have the rest of our power rankings here for first week of April 2019.
Life is all about sound. The sound of sports. The sound at the racetrack. And the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
Hey, this is Jim Beaver, host of the Down and Dirty Radio Show. Getting down and dirty on the racetrack is all fun and games until it's time to get the dirt off. I know it all too well, which is why I partnered with MotoShield Pro, the leaders in nanotechnology solutions on the racetrack and in off-road to combat mud and dirt buildup on my vehicles. MotoShield Pro keeps us from taking unnecessary damage and spending extra energy on cleaning. No matter the weather or the surface, having proper protection on all my vehicles saves me plenty of reprep time in a sport where every second counts. Prep your vehicle like a pro. Learn more at motoshieldpro.com.
Like what you hear? Catch all the back episodes of the Down and Dirty Radio Show on Apple Podcast, and be sure to rate, review, and subscribe.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Jim Beaver and Chris Leone just getting into our power rankings. Chris at number 5 had Dylan Ferrandis. I had Stuart Haas Racing. Now we're moving on to number 4. Chris kind of teased it before the break, but you had Denny Hamlin at number 4. Chris, give us a lowdown there.
Yes, sir. Denny Hamlin at number 4 for me. Became the third driver to win 2 races this season. Came back from a couple of pit road penalties, one on him, one issue with the crew. It's always impressive to see a driver have to come back from, kind of the extracurricular stuff like that in the pits. They had a pretty fantastic weekend. I mean, the Penske cars and the Joe Gibbs Racing cars have really been dominating at the Cup level this year. And obviously Denny got that Daytona 500 win for JD Gibbs, and now he's got that second win in Texas. So they are having a pretty good season. Denny's been pretty strong. I wouldn't be surprised to see him in the title fight at Homestead towards the end of the year.
Yeah, I no arguments. Actually, I had Denny on my list at one point, I think at number 5, and I bumped him out to my honorable mentions. But I don't know. Cup is one of those things. Anytime you can take a NASCAR Cup victory, I feel like you need to be in the power rankings that week. Like, I hate to say that, but as much as I despise certain things about NASCAR, I respect the competition. And when you've got that many cars out there competing, to take a win, it's a big, big deal. So I'm never going to argue with a Cup driver on a top 5 power rankings, no matter what. I just feel like, it's one of the, I look globally at motorsport, and I would say, and even anybody in Europe would say, they recognize NASCAR. You want to talk about elite motorsport? You got Formula One, MotoGP, IndyCar, NASCAR Cup. I feel like it's in the mix. Even people overseas that maybe don't understand NASCAR, they respect it as one of the elite motorsports series globally,
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's whether you're in a stock thing as it is now or not, those are some of the best drivers in the world. Those are some of the, most talented engineers and crew members in the world. It doesn't have to be everybody's cup of tea, but, then again, Formula One isn't everybody's cup of tea either from an entertainment standpoint, and you can't knock that either. And we'll get to F1 on my list a little bit later.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of F1, my number 4 came in at Charles Leclerc, a Ferrari driver who you can probably explain it better than I did because I didn't watch the race, but I've read a lot on it. And he pretty much dominated the race, had Lewis Hamilton basically, on his knees at one point. It was going to be a mercy killing. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, his engine started dropping a cylinder. Now, from what I understand, the engine actually is fine. It was something to do with the electronics. So they're chasing a gremlin that they still don't know how it happened. But anyways, he battled back. Most drivers in Formula One, I hate to say it, but they're a little prima donna. Most of them would have pulled into the paddock, called it a day. He soldiered on, and somehow he was losing 5 seconds a lap to Lewis Hamilton. Salvaged a third-place podium. I mean, I think even Lewis after the race was like, man, I think even he felt bad because Leclerc had that good of a run going, and it would have been his very first ever Formula One win. So for those reasons, soldiering on, still salvaging a podium in Formula One with a car dropping a cylinder and losing 5 seconds a lap, I got to have him at number 4, Chris.
Oh, absolutely, and that's a perfect segue because that is who I had at number 3. It really was an absolutely masterful performance from Leclerc this weekend. Qualified first. He's definitely putting the pressure on his teammate Sebastian Vettel with his results in the first couple of races and the speed that he's shown. that was one of the more heartbreaking losses I've seen in Formula One in quite some time. To have a lead like that and to just have something unexplained in the engine just steal it away from you is an absolute heartbreaker. I mean, he was fortunate to kind of benefit from a safety car period at the very end that sort of locked him into that third place, and, very well-deserved podium finish there. 100% agree. Everybody knows who really should have won that race.
Yeah.
It should have been Leclerc. And, I don't think it will be too long before he finally does get that victory. But, Ferrari's got a new star on their hands, and I think he's really proved that over the past couple of races to start the F1 season. So, I think he's going to have a long and pretty prosperous career ahead of him.
Yeah, and it's one of those weird things because everybody's heart broke for the guy because it's going to be his first Formula One win. If it would have been Lewis Hamilton in that position, nobody would have cared. I hate to say that, but nobody would have cared.
Oh, absolutely.
But because it was going to be his very first win and he earned it. I mean, like you said, it was a masterful performance. I think that's why it was so heartbreaking. If it would have been, like I said, Lewis Hamilton or, a handful of others, nobody really cares. They've got, countless wins. But this one just tough break for him.
Precisely.
Yeah. So my number 3, I'm going to come in and I've got Cooper Webb. Obviously, as we talked about and you talked about earlier, kind of when you were talking about Fernando, he came back. He, took a 450 win there at Houston. I mean, and it was a Triple Crown event, so he took a second, a first, and a third. It gave him the first overall. He's also the current points leader. So for those reasons, Cooper Webb, 450, it's a tough season. Anybody can win on any given weekend. So, solid effort by Cooper Webb and got him on the top spot. Well, I guess in the third spot for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I will get to Cooper Webb shortly, but jumping into my number 2, I have got driver number 2 in Stadium Super Trucks, and that's Sheldon Creed, who went 2 for 2 in his return to the series from Texas. Man, I wish we could have those SSTs run every single week. I mean, they put on such a fantastic show. To see them open up the season with 3 rounds in 4 weeks, we're going to get spoiled by some amazing footage. And, Robbie and company always put on a fantastic show. It's awesome to see, Sheldon come back, splitting time with Ryan Beat and Greg Biffle in that, in that Continental truck. That truck's going to be up front for most of the year, and it'll be interesting to see how those guys kind of combine in scores and if that's kind of a team championship for that truck. But, Ryan getting on the podium first race of the season at COTA was impressive, but I mean, Sheldon, it's like he never left. It's if they ever build a Hall of Fame for Stadium Super Trucks, the first class is probably going to be Robbie Gordon and Sheldon Creed. Apologies to a couple of other guys in there who have won championships and who have done really well, but I think Robbie and Sheldon are the first 2 guys who are always going to come to mind when you think of that series, and seeing Sheldon just kind of put on a masterclass at Texas this weekend only proves that point.
Yeah, I'd say Robbie Gordon, Sheldon Creed, and maybe Matt Brabham is one of those. But Sheldon, like you said, I mean, and he's driving the Continental Tire truck. That's kind of rad to see. I think it's special that Continental came into the series, but I know that they've got a relationship with him from ARCA when he raced on General Tires in ARCA. So I think it was kind of rad that they kind of brought him into the family officially, with that Continental Tire deal. And no arguments with Sheldon Creed in your second spot because, well, Sheldon Creed was in my second spot. Anytime you can take a Stadium Super Truck win, it's a big deal. But if you can sweep the weekend, it's even bigger. And the way they work those, and they do these inverted starts sometimes, and the fastest guy starts all the way in the back. And it is not an easy series to win or podium. And sometimes you see guys, and I hate to say this, Chris, that maybe would normally get a podium do get a podium only because of the invert, and they get to start up front. And so sometimes the hunters can't, the guys that are hunting them down can't quite catch them. And so, it's so tough with Stadium Super Trucks to sweep a weekend. And for those reasons, Sheldon Creed, my number 2, which leads us to number 1, Chris. Who's at the top of your list?
I went with Cooper Webb, and I know it may be a little bit of an overrate because, again, Ferrandis had a better overall Triple Crown performance, but watching Webb kind of have to get into it with his teammate Marvin Musquin, watching him just be as consistent as he's been, all season long, bring that to Houston, take his second Triple Crown victory of the year, which it's tough enough to win the overall the Triple Crown as it is, much less do it 2 out of 3 times in the season. He's the Triple Crown champion of the year. He scored the most points in those races, 75 out of a possible 78, which is not too shabby. He's probably going to be the overall champion, knock on wood, unless disaster absolutely strikes over the last few rounds of the season. I mean, Cooper Webb has been the class of the field, and I mean, we talk about this as kind of a 7-day look at who had the most impressive performances, but obviously the context in which riders are doing what they're doing factors in. And, I think Webb's, Cooper Webb's season has been as impressive as it gets. Unlike last year with Jason Anderson, who, Jason Anderson also had a fantastic year, but he also kind of was spotted erased by both Musquin and Eli Tomac towards the beginning of the year, and they were just always playing catch-up. With Cooper Webb, he had a couple of so-so races to start the year as he was feeling out the new KTM, gets that first victory, and then, again, the floodgates just opened, and, he's got nearly a 20-point lead going into the final few rounds of the year. It would not be out of the realm of possibility to see him lock up the title a race early.
Yeah, completely agreed. I know we've only got about a minute left. I will roll into my number 1. This one, we're going to 2 wheels again, but we're going to Argentina and MotoGP. Marc Marquez taking the pole at Argentina, also taking the victory at Argentina, which also puts him at the number 1 in the MotoGP World Point standing. So throwing you for a loop there, going MotoGP racing. Marc Marquez with a sweep of the weekend with a pole and the victory and the points lead heading out of Argentina. So got about 10 seconds. What do you think about that, Chris?
Yep, you sure threw me for a loop. Not even on my radar, but that's absolutely an impressive performance. I will give you that one, Jim.
All right, we are going to take a short commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to, we got, I think, Matt Martelli on the line here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR.
4WP is more than a store. We're truck and Jeep experts and have been for over 50 years. From wheel and tire upgrades to full custom builds, 4WP has you covered. Whether you want to order the best parts online or shop in store, do the work yourself, or get it done by a pro, all roads lead to 4WP. Do your rig right. Shop online or find your store at 4WP.com.
Looking to have some fun on 4 wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle and Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount.
Oh man, that was a hell of a ride. Go check out mymedic.com for the best first aid kits on the planet and save 15% with discount code Jim Beaver. Again, mymedic.com, discount code Jim Beaver, and save 15%. It's cheaper than a fuel.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. I'd like to welcome my brother from another mother, Matt Martelli, back to the show. I guess second week in a row, but we got a lot to talk about this week, Matt. This is UTV World Championship week, man, and that's it's got me fired up. I get to get behind the wheel this weekend, but I know you guys. I'm starting to see all the media start pumping out, and I think that entry list is pretty stacked at this point, buddy.
Oh, yeah, the entry list is stacked. I mean, that's one of the funnest things about this race to me is seeing all the different racers from short course and desert coming together to figure out who's the best. You know, it's super exciting. You know, one of the interesting things that's happened is because of the failure, I guess, of GNCC and UTV racing, we now have a lot of really fast guys out of the Midwest coming out to race with us. So that's really cool to see, guys and gals, I should say. So a lot of women racing with us as well.
You know, that's funny. You talk about the female racers, and you know, one thing I like about UTVs, and I know like it seemed like trucks and buggies, like the past couple of decades, there's been a few women that have floated in and been really successful. I mean, Day is one of them. I know Becky Freeman. There's a list of ladies, you know, the past couple decades that have really come in and done a really good job. But it seemed like UTVs now, dude, it has blown the doors open for all these, you know, these talented women drivers to come in and do battle. And that's one thing I love about UTVs is I feel like the doors have been blown wide open, you know, and it's allowed them to come in and really showcase their skills.
No, absolutely. I mean, that's the whole value of the UTV platform is that now anybody can afford to come race. So it's lowered the entry point, whereas, you know, trucks and buggies, like you're still spending, you know, tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars racing. You know, and now we have, you know, the rally class, which, you know, it's a stock UTV with some safety equipment on. I mean, you're talking about $200 and something payment a month plus a few $1,000s in safety equipment, and you're racing. So it really changes the landscape of off-road racing altogether. And you know, it's brought a lot of young racers, a lot of women, and just a lot of people, a lot of other people who couldn't afford to come racing. And that's exciting for everybody to see because the level of competition is getting higher, and it's not the same old guys. You know, we've got a lot of wild cards coming to the UTV World Championship that very well could, you know, take it. So it's going to be really exciting racing.
Yeah, you know, and it's funny you talk about that. There is a bunch of wild cards in UTV racing, and I mean, it's like you look at a guy like Phil Blurton, for instance. You know, 3-4 years ago, nobody, and this is no offense to Phil, but nobody knew who Phil was. He showed up, and this guy, like, immediately day one just started slaying people. You know what I mean? And it was like a guy, everybody's like, whoa, where did Phil come from? You know what I mean? But that's one thing I love about UTV racing. It's like it's lent itself to allow these guys to step in who have talent, you know, and because of the low cost of entry to get into racing UTVs, they can come in and immediately make an impact.
No, absolutely. I mean, he's a prime example of not only did he, you know, kind of come out of nowhere, but he also did it on a platform at the time that nobody believed in. You know, he proved that the Can-Am platform, you know, is a game platform to win on, you know, and really has dominated the last couple of years. So, you know, as well as the S3 guys, you know, and that's the thing. It's like good competition from factories, good competition from racers, lots of aftermarket parts companies supporting. So it's really healthy. It's growing, and not just on the West Coast. It's growing all over the world. I actually was supposed to go to Guam with Ivan Stewart to look at putting on a large race there. They used to race pro trucks back in the day there, and the guys who do that reached out to us and asked us to come out there and look at potentially doing a race. So it's growing all over the world, and you know, it's super exciting that people are seeing, you know, what we've done at the UTV World Championship, and they want it in their country and they want it in their state. So it's just going to continue to grow. But yeah, this year is going to be mental. I mean, we added the 570 class to the youth racing. That's already blown up. I mean, we have almost 100 youth racers in total, and we're up near 370-ish entries total. So you're talking about, you know, not just a big UTV race or the biggest UTV race. You're talking about one of the biggest desert races, you know, in the country.
Yeah, and you mentioned the 570. That's one thing I love about UTVs and Polaris platform specifically. You look at whether it be NHRA or IndyCar or NASCAR, everything's got a proper ladder system, and I feel like UTVs, like, it's built in. You got these kids starting out the 170s, then they move up to the 570, and then they move up to the 1000, and then they finally land in the turbo class. And it's like there's these stepping stones along the way, and I think that's what's really rad is you can get kids in at a young age, or and you can work your way up, or if you're older, you can come in at the 1000 before you move up to turbo. It's not like you're thrown to the wolves. There's a proper ladder system, built into the UTV, the UTV industry or UTV racing. And I think that's something really special because you don't get that in a lot of motorsports,
No, absolutely. And I think that the main thing is that these are factory vehicles. These are vehicles you can go buy at your dealership. And especially for the kids, one thing that's really important to us is that we restrict the classes so that they're not crazy expensive vehicles. So, it's a 170 with some safety equipment and a few things on it. It's not crazy expensive. The 250 class is modified 170, a little bit more expensive. And then you jump to 570 and, same thing. We're trying to keep that class restricted. So this same vehicle you could go load your buddy into and go play in the dunes on the weekends. So that's what's really important to us, is to keep it fun and affordable. We had a growth period of youth racing with trophy cars, and then it quickly got out of hand. It turned into $100,000 race vehicles, which kept a lot of people out of that market because they couldn't afford it. So we're trying to control it and make sure that it's healthy. But, youth are our future. And for off-road racing culture, really globally, we've never had that. Most people that I know don't start off-road racing until they're in their 30s and they've made a couple of bucks. But now we have this whole youth movement that started, and, R.J. Anderson and, a bunch of the guys his age are the first wave of those young kids who started in trophy carts. Now we have the second, third wave beginning to happen. So you're seeing these kids roll into full-size pro-level vehicles with seat times since they were 6 years old. I mean, it's going to be incredible.
Yeah, and that's one thing that's blown my mind the past couple of years. When I started out, there was, we rode dirt bikes, and then, I got about 17, 18, and my dad, I'd spent some time in the pre-runner, and he kind of let me, kind of ease my way through the pre-runner into some limited classes and off-road and things like that. And I was learning at, 17, 18 years old how to race. I knew how to drive, but I was learning how to race, because there was no options at that point in time for me to race before that, And now these kids, like you said, it's like my daughter, she's had a 170 for like 3 or 4 years now. She's 10. This girl can shred, and I'm like, man, I wish I had that kind of talent at 10 years old. But like, to me, there was just no options. And I think that's what's going to be exciting about this new generation, like you said, led by, the R.J. Anderson and company who, in that same age category. But like, to see the next 10, 20 years, the evolution of off-road and how good these drivers get just because they did start at such a young age. Me as an off-road fan, it's got me excited, Matt.
Yeah, same. I mean, look, it's going to be a higher quality of racer. They're going to be off-road racers and be a part of the off-road culture for longer, and we have more of them. So we have kind of the best of all worlds. And again, I can't credit Polaris enough for having that platform. What's funny is, I'll tell you the story. I remember sitting with Polaris when they showed us the 170, and me, my brother, and actually Joey D all looked at each other and went, yeah, we're going to race these. And Polaris was like, no, these aren't race cars. These are just for kids to have fun. We just looked right at them. You have no idea what's about to happen. And then the very next year, we had them at, the UTV World Championship, and it spread like wildfire. Now there's short course racing, there's racing in the Midwest, there's racing in the East Coast and the South with these vehicles, and it's just going to continue to grow. So, I'm excited. I'm excited for it in terms of UTV racing. I'm excited for it in terms of how it's going to impact off-road culture. So it's great. I mean, look, everybody has got a family, and off-road racing is a family-based sport, and this just really illustrates it. I was talking to Justin from Cognito the other day, and he was telling me about how much he loves the UTV World Championship because he can come race, and then his son can come race. So his whole family comes out, And it's the one race that they do every year where everybody wants to go to it and be a part of it, whether it's supporting him or supporting his son. So it's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, and that's one thing you talk about. We got to jump into the schedule here, but like you said, I mean, there's something for everybody at this one. Starting on, I know Thursday night you've got you got some stuff happening, and then moving into Friday, I mean, we've got poker runs for the family, and obviously you've got contingency, and I guess you guys are calling it the UTV Festival there. You've got youth racing. I mean, moving into Saturday, you got motorcycles and quads. UTVs, NA, and then turbo, and then short course on Sunday, Matt. I mean, this. I'm just looking. This is like a full, anybody that loves off-road and UTVs. I mean, there's something for everybody at Laughlin.
Yeah, well, that's the idea. Is it's bringing everybody in UTV racing together under one roof and putting it on one big event. So, and we wanted to do the Laughlin Leap. We just couldn't find a sponsor this year. So hopefully we'll be returning that next year. But yeah, there's more than enough racing. It continues to grow. We're adding new classes, and trying to make the racing competitive for everybody and give everybody their space to, finish all their laps and get their dollars worth. So, no, it's exciting. I mean, look, everything kicks off really on Friday with, tech and contingency. The poker runs on Friday. And then we have the Pit Crew Challenge on Friday as well, which is going to be awesome. This year we're doing both the Youth Pit Crew Challenge and the Adult Pit Crew Challenge. Last year we just did youth and all the adults were upset. The year before we did just adults and all the kids were upset. So we're trying to make everybody happy and include everybody, and make it a good time for the entire family. And then, rolling into Saturday, we've got, I'm sorry, I don't want to skip over the kids. We have all the kids racing on Friday as well. And then, rolling into Saturday, we've got racing, basically from sun up to sundown. And then the first half of Sunday, we're racing with the short course race. So it's going to be wild. It's going to be one of the other things that just happened too is Polaris stepped up again and offered up 3 cars. So we'll be giving away a 170 to the winner of the top. I'm sorry, we're going to do it as a pool. The top 5 from the 170 and 250 class winner will be chosen at random for that vehicle. The 570 class, same thing. The top 5, one will be chosen at random to get a brand new 570, and then we're going to pool the short course and desert racing top 5s of each class, and one of those winners will go away with a brand new Razor Turbo S. So again, Polaris stepping up, giving cars away. It's huge. I mean, think about all the trophy truck races like San Felipe. What do you get? They're not giving away a car, that's for sure.
Yeah, you get some tacos and beer afterwards, man.
Yeah, you get a good time for sure. But
yeah, no, man, I am excited this weekend at Laughlin. I mean, things kick out. We're only a couple of days away. I know you got to be heading out to Laughlin shortly if you're not there already. But yeah, looking forward to it Saturday and Sunday. I know entry list. Where are we at last count? I know it's over 300. What's total entry so far, Matt?
Yeah, we're like around 350. We actually are supposed to get the updated count here any minute, and we'll post it. But man, it's just it continues to grow year after year, which is awesome, and we're stoked. So it's good. Best competition in the world, the UTV racing, the biggest UTV race in the world. Bring your friends and family out, especially for Friday during our Arizona West UTV Festival. There's going to be all the latest and greatest UTV companies and aftermarket companies displaying all their new products. So it should be a good time.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it, Matt. Looking forward to seeing you in Laughlin, man. And here's I guess we'll buy you a beer in Laughlin, buddy.
Sounds like a plan, Jimmy. Thank you.
And we'll be back with more after this on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Looking to have some fun on 4 wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle and Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount.
Life is all about
sound, the sound of sports, the sound of the racetrack, and the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
Like what you hear? Catch all the back episodes of the Down and Dirty Radio Show on Apple Podcast, and be sure to rate, review, and subscribe.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in today and listening to me ramble for a couple of hours. Always appreciate it. Don't forget, you like me rambling. Tomorrow we are debuting my new show, the Four Wheel Parts Down and Dirty Show Off-Road Edition, also powered by Polaris Razor. That'll be coming at you on Wednesdays every week. So Tuesdays, Down and Dirty Show. Wednesday's Down and Dirty Show Off-Road Edition. Thursday's Project Action. We got the middle of your week dialed. It is on lock. So, yes, make sure, and if you want to get to Off-Road Edition, my first guest is going to be Joey D., formerly with UTV Underground, now with 4 Parts. He'll be episode number 1, long-form interview, podcast style we're going to be doing on that show. But make sure and go over to iTunes, subscribe to the Down and Dirty Show feed. It'll be the same feed for both Down and Dirty shows, both the National Show and the Off-Road Edition. Also, make sure and check out Project Action over there on Podcast One. Hit the subscribe button to that as well. Everything also drops on my website, downanddirtyshow.com. And for some reason, if you guys are inclined, make sure and give me a follow at JimBeaver15 on all forms of social media. Big shout out to Polaris Razor, General Tire, Vision Wheel, Gibson Exhaust, Dirtfish, MotoShield Pro, My Medic, Go Parts, Blue Water Resort and Casino, and don't forget, you're looking for 15% off at Dirtfish, it's JB Dirtfish, and don't forget, check out mymedic.com, use the coupon code JimBeaver, that'll get you 15% off their amazing first aid kits right there at MyMedic. So, been a fun show, UTV World Championship this week, we'll be doing a show out there, recording on Friday, we'll drop it next week, next week, 3 shows, don't forget, tomorrow we got the Off-Road Edition debuting and then Project Action on Thursday. Thank you guys for the continued support. Always, you got any questions, hit me up at JimBeaver15. Love to hear from you guys. And hopefully you guys have a great week. And if you're at the UTV World Championship, swing by and say, hey, love to meet you. All right, see you next week.